so much for joining us.
My great pleasure.
Owino Caleb is the managing director at Fireworks Advertising. What exactly do you do there?
Well, as managing director, my job is to create an environment where great minds can create great ads. It's simple.
Wow, great minds can create great
ads.
Yes. I've always been fascinated with advertising when, I don't have to read about a product and just watch an advert and that's it.
Yeah.
I get it right away.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
When you start a business, you're very excited about the opportunities and you're like, oh, when I get my office, when I get a Facebook page, when I get Twitter, people will just get on board.
Yes.
But first of all, do we even understand what marketing is?
Most people don't. I think most people confuse marketing and sales. Sales is actually closing the deal, that transaction. But marketing is a long process that should start even before the product is determined. Before you even decide this is a product I'm going to be selling,
all right,
you should be thinking marketing. You should be thinking, who am I going to sell it to? Who are my competitors? And what's the one thing that I'm going to provide that the customer cannot get anywhere else? You get that right, selling becomes easy. You don't get that right, you will work your head off and you'll barely make a sale.
Right.
Yeah.
Where do we get it wrong? We are excited about the opportunities that lie ahead, and then 6 months down the road, we're like, we don't have any money. The business has failed to grow. So you start panicking. You get a few guys to go and give out brochures. Where do we get it wrong?
I think it's that sales mentality. Sales mentality in the sense that if I have the product, then they're going to buy. Okay? It doesn't follow. The point is, customers out there have so many choices.
Right.
And the number one choice they have is not to even consume your product, your competitor's product, and the other competitor's product. They have that choice. Now, next to that, they have, should they decide to consume what I call the category, if, say, it's telecom, mobile, phone services, telecom services is a category. If it's soda is a category. Before they decide to consume, even after they decide to consume soda, there's so many choices. After they decide to buy a mobile phone, there's so many choices. Now, marketing should be, it's about thinking it through before you even decide to go and make that offer. All right. Now, when you decide to make that offer, marketing still continues to determining who should I target with this product. There are many people you can sell a product to. The problem is with a sales mentality, we sell the product to anybody we come across. There are people who will never buy that product if you're paying them.
That's beautiful.
So you need to realize that.
Right. You talked about sales and sales and sales. Where is the difference between sales and marketing? Because I know at NTV we have a clearly now defined separate office of marketing, separate office of sales.
I think those are very interrelated. They're interdependent. But I want to say, without any bias or without undermining, professionals in sales, that marketing overarches sales. So it's sales and a lot more. Marketing creates the environment for the sale to happen. In other words, if I was to put it in a different way, by the time you are selling, you will encounter a certain perception, positive or negative.
Right.
Marketing needs to shape that perception before the sales guy arrives. Now, if that perception is negative, it doesn't matter how good the sales guy is. He's going to be facing an uphill task. Now, put differently as well, marketing often answers the question, why should you buy this? Okay. Sales will answer the question, what should you buy? Okay, what should you do with it? Where can you use it? How can you use it? And those questions comes later on. But I have to determine that, what? These products for me. I'll take somebody like you, Brian. You're deciding what car to buy. Now, the car you're going to buy is not decided when the salesman appears. All right.
Yeah.
You made that decision a long time ago. That, Brian is a Mercedes-Benz guy.
So, how did you know that? I'm still waiting for Peter Igoga to crash his. All right.
So the role of marketing is to make sure that by the time you are ready to buy that car, you have decided that you belong to Mercedes-Benz or to Toyota or BMW or whatever it is. Now, sales therefore closes the deal, but the deal has been shaped by marketing for quite some time. That's the difference.
Are there particular tips? You know, how do you even market a simple business? This guy has a computer shop downtown. You know, there are thousands of same businesses, or a lady that you know. I get quite. It's quite interesting. You find many shops doing the same thing.
Yes.
But people tell you at the end of the day, each of those shops makes some money.
Yes.
How can you stand out of that crowd and ably market your product?
You know, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. If you look at that question, most small businesses think marketing is for big companies. I say no. I once spoke to a taxi, chap, and he was asking me. He asked me what I do. I say I'm in advertising. Oh, advertising, that's expensive stuff. I would never even think about it. I say no. Advertising should not be expensive, because advertising can be shaped for different entities, different businesses, depend on their need. Let me give you a picture of kiosks in your neighborhood. You have like 7, 8, 10 of them in a row. You're going to buy something late in the evening, and one of them seems to be well lit.
Yeah.
Okay. The others are dimly lit. Chances are you'll tend to want to go to the one that's well lit.
Yes.
That's advertising. That's marketing. This guy is shaping the perception of the kiosk and differentiating it from the other kiosk. So it's about, why should I go to you and not the other person? What is it? And often it's not a question you can answer directly. It's more of a connection. Okay? Connection in the sense that well lit means probably security. Well lit probably means they are more organized. Well lit probably means quality. And those are not things you're going to discuss with a customer. But you're sending a very strong signal. Please come here and not the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. If you're just joining us, I would like you to give tips, because some of our people are young entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And they're starting out great. And research shows that usually in the second year, businesses die.
Yeah.
And people don't know how to graduate from their first year. So very good analogy of the well-lit kiosk.
Yes.
Are there also, master things that you must do for a business? Do I have to study my market? All this stuff. Do I have to come up with billboards? Because when you say advertising, I'm thinking, a very well-placed billboard at City Square.
Thanks for that question. I think one major problem that most small and even sometimes large businesses have is that they think so much of themselves. They spend a lot of time thinking, okay, how much money can I make, and how do I make more, and how, instead of thinking about the customer. And the question I want anybody to think about, starting a business, luckily, if say I'm talking to you right now and you've not started, this is the right time. Ask yourself not what you can make, but what can I do for the customer? What is it that they need and they're not getting that I can be able to provide? So do not enter into the business thinking that if they are making money, then I can make money. Ask yourself, be guided by, what is it that these people need that I can uniquely provide? And if I provide it, they'll be willing to pay for it. Now, marketing is, it's critical that a marketing mind thinks about that. So once you're in a state where you're providing a needed service or product, you need to be visible. They need to know about it. It doesn't matter how great your product is if they are not aware about it. So how do you find a way of reaching them and exposing your product? Please make sure you're doing so in a manner that is affordable and does not blow up the cost of the business.
Right.
Now, luckily, in the age of the web, in the age of social media, and it will not cost you as much as it would have costed you some time back to run your ad on a billboard, maybe buy newspaper ads and whatever, to be able to do advertising to a small business. However, if you can afford it, follow the customer. If the customer is watching TV, find a way of getting onto TV. If the customer is listening to the radio, find a way of getting on the radio. However, if the customer is on Facebook, follow the customer
Right.
to create visibility for your product.
Right. I want to, quickly kind of divert and ask you, what is the power of networking in marketing?
Very important. Very, very important.
How do you even network?
Well, I think there have been, again, people approach networking in many different ways. I'm a firm believer, and out of experience, that networking should not be a matter of meeting everybody out there. It should be a matter of developing deep relationships of people who can, will be thinking about you and will be willing to support you. And let me give you an example. Going to every cocktail in town could appear to be networking. But how deep are the relationships?
We are always encouraged to go for
networking, and this I'm sharing very, very personal experience.
Right.
Works best if I can be able to interact with you in a meaningful way. So, for example, we are doing charity work together. All right, you'll get to understand me. I'll get to understand you, almost like colleagues. All right. I personally, I'm a member of the Rotary Club, for example. Right. Now, the kind of networking that happens there is purposeful networking. We share a purpose. We share values. Now, it becomes so deep to a point where we are almost like brothers and sisters. We have many brothers and sisters out there who will not shy away from taking your call. So networking needs to be meaningful. Yes, you need to go out there and meet as many people as possible, but not everybody you meet is going to be a deep and reliable business contact.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess, in the coming weeks, we'll also look at, there's something that you mentioned, about knowing who will consume your product, even if you pay them. There are people who are, and for me, for my personal business, when someone tells, why haven't you, talk to this one, I'm like, because I know they cannot afford what I offer. Let's look at other places of marketing. One day, someone brought cautions. It is the most vivid example I have. And then another person just put up billboards welcoming cautions.
Yes.
And I was later educated that it's called ambush marketing. How does that work exactly?
Well, ambush marketing has been around for some time. I think it's about, marketing on a frugal, let me call it frugal marketing. You are marketing on a very small budget. And you want to maximize opportunities. Now, as you know, sponsorships is a centerpiece of marketing. Brands sponsor activities so that they can get visibility, and it costs them a lot of money. Some brands may not have the budgets to be able to do it. So ambush marketing is when you don't have the budget, wait for your competitor to sponsor the event. Once the sponsorship is set, the activity is bubbling, there are people out there, you have your plan to just appear at the right time, be associated with the activity without paying so much. That's called ambush marketing, in the sense that you are ambushing competition. Now, ambush marketing requires that you are very smart about it. Because if you don't do it properly, there could be a backlash.
You could be sued.
You could be sued, all right? You need to understand the corridor opportunity, and you need to navigate it very, very well. Now, globally, I think Nike has done this, significantly well. They did it in South Africa during the last World Cup, in which case Adidas is the official sponsor of the World Cup. Nike is not the official sponsor of the World Cup. But they maneuvered their visibility at the World Cup to a point where 30% of the audiences that were following the World Cup recognized or remembered Nike. Only 14% remembered Adidas. So who got the most out of the 2010 World Cup?
Nike.
It was Nike, but Adidas sponsored it. So that's effective ambush marketing.
Wow. Okay, I understand. But please do ambush marketing at your own risk. And if you're just joining us, I'm with Mr. Owino Caleb, who is the Managing Director of Fireworks Advertising. And we're here looking at the power of marketing and how you can use it to make sure that your business moves ahead. Of course, feel free to ask on our Facebook page, Morning at NTV. And you can also tweet us at Morning at NTV, and you can also send the text to 6565. Before we end this, anything that you can leave for potential marketeers or people that are, they've been looking for that point that can just, it's a breakthrough for their business, how they can ably reach their customer, the person who can actually consume what they have.
No, I think it starts with, even before you ask, how do we sell this product? I think the question of what should we sell is very important. Because if you answer that right, then it will be easy to answer how do we sell. Now, once you've determined what you're going to sell, people buy what's familiar. Okay. Go anywhere outside Africa and, in Europe, in Asia, and see the reaction that happens when an African man or woman meets another African person. They don't know each other, they're strangers. But because of familiarity, you'll see them saying hello to each other. It's the same thing with products.
You kind of just sense it and you're like,
hi, And it's the same thing with brands and products. People buy what's familiar. So it's very important that you develop familiarity for your product. Okay. Make sure that it's consistent, it's visible, and they're able to, they can tell, this is something familiar and there's no risk of me engaging with it.
Right.
Next to that, I want to emphasize how important it is to communicate what they can expect and make sure that you're able to deliver what they can expect consistently. Marketing has helped the world navigate consumption. Imagine you're going to the supermarket and none of the products on the shelf were familiar.
I'll walk out.
Shopping that should take roughly 20, 30 minutes could take one day because you need to open check. Open check before you can be able to buy.
Right.
So marketing helps the customer choose. Now, when the customer makes that choice on the understanding and trust that I know this and it's familiar, you don't want to disappoint the customer one day when he picks up your product and it's not exactly what you've been, projecting it to be.
Yes.
So it's not enough to just communicate. It's also very important to work hard to make sure that when you make a promise by communicating, you can be able to keep the promise.
Right.
In a word, I usually say, a great product, a great brand, okay, is a promise. All right.
A great brand is a promise.
Yes. A successful brand is a promise fulfilled. So if you can make a clear promise, you have sort of brand.
Right.
If you can fulfill it, you have a great successful brand.
Right. Owino Kale, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
And I will definitely come also for advertising because we've seen some adverts are really, and you're thinking, did these guys have a storyboard? What were they thinking? We'll be teaching us how to ably advertise, especially when it comes to TV. Now,